This is one of a series of 6 general revision videos for GCSE maths at foundation level. This is based on the revision maths available through pixiemaths.co.uk with the link below. This is the ratio and proportion skills version. So firstly, equivalent fractions, decimals and percentages. Completing the table below, we have a half is equivalent to 0.5, 50%. 0.6 as a fraction is 6/10. Don't get confused with 0.6 recurring, which would be 2/3. So that is 60%. 15% as a decimal, 0.15, which is 15/100ths, which can be simplified. So divide top and bottom by 5, I get 3 over 20. 3/20ths, 0.15, 15%. 1/4, we just memorize, is 0.25, and as a percentage, 25%. Would you rather have 3/4, 70%, or 0.72 of a pizza? So to compare all of these, they should be in the same format. 3/4 equals 75%. That's 70%. 0.72 is 72%. So I would rather have 3/4 because 3/4 is the most. That's the why. Obviously, if you don't like pizza, then you would be answering 70% because it's the smallest, and that would be your reason. Because 70% is the least. I think they assume that you like pizza. Okay. Simplify ratio, that we need to simplify just like you do with fractions. You find the highest common factor of these and divide by that. So each of these can be divided by 8, so that gives me the ratio 2:1. 11 to 22, highest common factor here is 11, so divide both sides by 11 and I get 1 to 2. You can write them in like that, divide by 11, divide by 11, so that you're doing the same thing to both parts of the ratio. 24 to 12, again, highest common factor of those is 12. It isn't always the number in the ratio, but in this case it seems to be 2:1. For this kind of problem, we need to make sure that everything's in the same units first. So I can turn that into 50 to 250 pence. I could also have turned it into 0.5 pounds to 2.5 pounds. Either way is fine. Divide both sides by 50 here. I get 1. 50 goes into 250 5 times. So 1 to 5. Simplify 4 to 8 to 12. It's the same process. I need to find the highest common factor of all 3 numbers now. In this case 4. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 8 twice. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So my ratio is 1 to 2 to 3. There are 32 pupils in a class, 20 of them are girls. What is the ratio of boys to girls in its simplest form? So I've got 32 in total. Boys to girls is something to 20. It's not 32 to 20. I need to work out how many boys there if there are 20 girls in the class. So 32 minus 20 is 12. 12 to 20. In its simplest form, what's the highest common factor of these two? You could divide by 2, but you can also divide by 4. So dividing both sides by 4, that gives me 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 20 divided by 4 is 5. That's the ratio in its simplest form. Calculating with decimals, which is the biggest? So I just need to look at when is there something in each column. So anything in the tenths column will make that number bigger. There's nothing in the tenths column of any of them. Obviously in the units column they're all the same. So I'm then looking for which of these has any hundredths in it, and this one has some hundredths, so that is the biggest of them. Second biggest would be 1/4, because these two both have 1,000th, and that has 4 10,000ths compared to 3 10,000ths, so that would be the second biggest, and that would be the smallest. But it's just asked for which is the biggest, so it's that one. that 3 is bigger than the 1s. 2.5 plus 0.37, we just have to line up the decimal points. 2.5, 0.37 gives you 7, 3 plus 5 is 8, 2.87 is the answer. 3 friends compare their heights. Who is the tallest? Again, we're just looking for the highest number in the largest value column. So they're all over 1 meter, and we're comparing the values in this column. We don't care about those unless we have the same values in this column. So the highest value in this column is the 6, so Chris, 1.62 meters, is the tallest. Calculate the answer to 4.8 divided by 3. I can just do bus stop method with this because 3 is a whole number, so 3 goes into 4 once with a remainder of 1. 3 goes into 18 6 times, and I just put that decimal place in the same place, so the answer is 1.6. £8.40 is shared equally between 3 brothers. How much does each brother receive? Again, I can do bus stop method. 3 goes into £8.40, 3 goes into 8 twice with a remainder of 2, 3 goes into 24 8 times. I don't need to do this one apart from its money, so I do need my answer to say £2.80 and not £2.08 or 2.8. It needs to have the full notation for pounds and pence. Aisha buys a magazine for £1.25 and chocolates for £2.99. She pays with a £10 note. How much change does she receive? So let's add the two things that she spends together. You can use column method like this. The other thing you could do is say £3 plus 1.25 minus 1 pence. So we know that we're ending with £4.24, but using this method again, 9 plus 5 is 14, 9 plus 2, 11, plus 1 is 12, carry 1, 1 plus 2 plus 1 is 4.24. Then we've got £10, take away the £4.24. You could do this in your head as well, knowing that each column, well, we know we've got £5 and 76 is going to be the answer. Using it this way, I need to borrow from this, obviously, all the way down, so these becomes 9s, and 4 from 10 is 6, 2 from 9 is 7, 4 from 9 is 5, so £5.76. Again, answer in pounds and pence, making notation clear. Simplifying fractions, again, highest common factor of both. 3 goes into both of these, but also 9 goes into both of these, so just like with the ratios, we can simplify. So divide by 9, I get 1, divide by 9, I get 2. 12 over 20, highest common factor is 4. Again, you could go to 6/10 and then down to 3/5. If I divide by 4, that gives me 3 over 5 straight away. Highest common factor of these, 16 and 24, is 8. You might think of 4, but actually 8 goes into both of those. So 8 goes into 16 twice and into 24 3 times. Right as an improper fraction, 4 times 2 is 8, and then add the 3, 9, 10, 11. So as an improper fraction, that's 11 over 4. That was 4 times 2 is 8 plus the 3. Right as a mixed number, 6 goes into 27. 6 goes into 24 4 times, with a remainder of 3, leaving me with 4 and 3/6, and then I should simplify this bit to 4 and 1/2. Without using a calculator on this, we need to add these fractions, so we need to have the same denominator. So I rewrite this one as 2 over 4, scaling the numbers up, plus 1 over 4 is 3/4, or you just know that half plus a quarter is 3/4. Multiplying, I need to multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators, but of course if I can cancel first, then I should. So cancel anywhere between numerators and denominators. I've got 5 there and 15 there. So divide both by 5, I get 1, 3. 12 there and 6 there. Divide both by 6, I get 1 and 2, leaving me with 1 times 1, which is 1, 2 times 3, which is 6. So the answer is 1/6. Obviously you could have gone via 5 times 6 is 30, and 12 times 15, which is 180, but we would rather not have to do that. That cancels down to 1 over 6, 3 over 18, 1 over 6. But if we can cancel first, then it avoids these big numbers needing to be used at all. If we're dividing by a fraction, it is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. So we keep the first number the same. We multiply by the reciprocal of 8/9, which is 9 over 8. So we flip the second fraction and multiply. Again, I'm looking for things that can cancel first. I could do 16 times 9 over 27 times 8, but if I can cancel, that makes my life easier. So 9 goes into 27, 9 goes into 9 once, into 27 3 times. 8 goes into 8 once and into 16 twice. So I've got 2 times 1, which is 2, and 3 times 1, which is 3. So 2/3 is my final answer there. 2 1/3 minus 1 2/3. Probably want to deal with the whole numbers first. 2 minus 1 is 1, and then I've got 1/3 minus 2/3. So that gives me 1 minus 1/3. 1/3 minus 2/3 is minus 1/3. So that gives me down to 2/3 as an answer. Other way to do that would be to turn each one into improper fractions. Some people prefer it this way. 3 times 2 is 6, 7/3. Minus 3 times 1 is 3, 4 5/3. And then it's just a case of we've got the same denominator already, so 7 minus 5, 2/3. Okay, on to percentages of amounts. Calculate 40% of 600 milliliters. I would be using the fact that 10% is 60 milliliters. So if I want 40%, I need to take that 10% and times it by 4. So 4 6s, 24, that is 240 milliliters. Calculator method for that would be 0.4, 40%, times by 600. Also gives you 240 milliliters. 67% of 120, I will use a calculator for that one. That is 0.67 times 120. We could do it without. We would find 10% is 12, times that by 6. 1% is £1.20, times that by 7 and add them together. It's possible, but I'm just going to make it quicker by doing it on a calculator. £80 and £80 40 pence. 80.4 came out of my calculator. £80 40 pence. And always just check, that should be more than half of 120, and it is. So that makes sense for 67%. Bobby went to the shop and there was a 20% sale. He was going to buy a top for £24. How much does he save? Well, he's going to save 20%. So we need to find 20% of 24. And again, assuming this is a non-calculated paper, £24, 10% of £24 is £2.40. Therefore 20%, which is what he saves, is doubled that, £4.80. Sarah went to the shop and there was a 15% sale. She was going to buy a CD for £8. How much does she save? It's the same kind of problem. It's basically asking what is 15% of 8. So on a calculator I would do 0.15 times by 8 for the answer to this. And remember, this is not reducing by 15%. This is saying how much does she save, is asking how much is the value of 15% of the £8. So I can do 10% is 80p, £0.80. 5% is half of that, £0.40. So 15% is those two combined, which is £1.20. 80 pence plus 40 pence. On to sharing in a ratio, or dividing in a ratio. Paul is making grey paint. He mixes black and white paint in the ratio 1:3. So we've got black to white in the same order, 1:3. He makes 35 litres of grey paint. How much white paint does he use? Well, this means we've got 4 parts in total, and we're scaling that up to 35 litres. What we're saying is that a quarter of this paint, if we've got 4 parts, a quarter of this is black and 3/4 is white. So what I'm really being asked is to find 3/4 of 35. So 3/4 of 35 is the same as 3/4 times by 35. Which is 26.25 litres. The ratio of adults to children in the sports club is 5:2. There are 120 adults in the club. How many children are there? So this is a case of scaling up. 5:2 for adults to children is the same as 120 to what? I have to think of what number do I multiply 5 by to get up to 120. I can find that number by doing 120 divided by 5, which is 20. No, it's not. It's 24. Sorry, doing the wrong thing. 24. Therefore, I have multiplied that side by 24, so I need to do the same to this side. 2 times 24 is 48. So how many children are there? 48 children. Tim, Shula and Carol share the running cost of the car in the ratio 1:2 to 3. Last year it cost £1,860 to run the car. How much did Carol pay? So Carol pays the highest share, 3. That is 3 out of a total of 6 parts. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6 shares, 6 parts in total. She's paying for half of it, 3 out of 6. So either we find the cost of one part by doing 1860 divided by 6 and then multiplying that answer by 3 for Carol, or we spot that 3 out of 6 is 1/2 and I just do half times by 1860, dividing it in 2, which is 930. And final section, increasing and decreasing by percentages. Claire improves her further distance for running by 19%. She used to be able to run 4 kilometers. How far can she run now? We either find 10% and then 9% of 4 kilometers and subtract that from 4 kilometers. But if this is a calculator paper, which the numbers suggest to me it probably would be, we improve 19% by saying what is 119% and multiplying by 119%, which as a decimal multiplier is the 100% plus the 19%. So this is an improvement or an increase of 19%, and it gives us the answer 4.76 kilometers. Michael gets 42% better at kick-ups. He used to be able to do 50. How many can he do now? Again, he's got better. It's an increase of 42%, so I want to take that 50 and find out what 142% of it is. So I multiply by 1.42. He can now do 71 kick-ups. Ben loses 36% of his Instagram followers. He used to have 3,800. How many does he have now? If I'm losing 36%, again, I could find 36% and then subtract it. The decimal multiplier method means I'm taking 36%, 0.36 from 1, and that gives me 0.74. So I find that 3,800 and multiply it by 0.74 to reduce it by 36%. That gives me 2,812. If you did it by the step-by-step method and you got the same answer, then you're doing the right thing. So 2,812 followers. Red Bull has 94% more sugar than Coke Life. Coke Life has 1.2 grams of sugar. How much does Red Bull have? 94% more is an increase of 94%, so I'm going to take that 1.2 and multiply by 1.94, finding the 100% and the extra 94%. And that gives me 2.328 grams of sugar. And that is the end of the ratio and proportion sheet.